as I always look back on it, it was the best thing that ever happened. Just because there was no more fighting in the house.
I think maybe I'm not right, but I think every song you wrote with him.
I think one way or another he was part of it, in spirit for sure.
And okay, so what was it like now to actually write and record songs with other people? Was it?
It was a challenge, man, because, like I said, me and my brother knew each other inside and out. If I would, lean to the right, he would know that meant, hey, follow me, or if he would do something, or we would stop and we spoke the same language about how to record something or how we wanted to slam this part or that part, and this was all new, man. We were all new to each other, and they were really great about learning, a different style of recording. The way we recorded the last couple of Pantera records was really spontaneous. We would record everything from the minute we sat down. Nothing would not get recorded, and most of it ended up being on the records. And that way it was just very dangerous. It was very raw. It had that intensity. So many bands will go and write a record, then demo it, and then come back and try to re-record it, and then they go, man, it's not as good as the demo. They call it demoitis. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because it doesn't have the same emotion you had that day. You're not hungover like you were that day. Whatever it was that you were feeling and thinking when you were doing that, plus you've lost that dangerous element of not knowing exactly what you're doing it. You're not just going for it, You're trying to be perfect now, and that really takes a lot away from it. So, they were used to doing it the other way, and so I taught them how to do it this way, and it was pretty cool. It was fun to work together,
So that was the first album. How did you record it then? This album?
This album,
your way or their way?
No, we did it this way again. They liked this way.
Okay.
It's you get what you're feeling at the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever stray away from. If you come into the room that day and your wife just pissed you the fuck off, or, there's been a world event that just crossed your mind, or, you fucking feel like shit and you're like, man, I don't really feel like doing this, and it comes across and it works for that song, And with this record, we recorded this one inside my house, and the Dime's house is about 20 miles from me, so we had to do a lot of traveling back and forth all the time. And kind of wanted to, simplify it a little. And plus, I just wanted to see if we could do it, And I put the drums in my living room with a big 45-foot ceiling. It sounded great, real big ambient sound. Guitar amps over in the game room. Turned one of the bedrooms upstairs into the control room, and then we just put video monitors around so we could all see each other. Kind of like what Rick Rubin does with his house when he records. And it really was a great working environment. I have these things that I built up back called the bungalows that all the guys stay in. So they just wake up, come in, we do a little barbecuing and sit down and start jamming, start drinking. It was all right there. So had a really great cohesiveness to it.
It's the one song that you say, well, if I listen to that song right now, then I can tell what was happening that day. Maybe you can describe what...
Yeah, man. The song Better Man, mm-hmm. which to me ended up being one of the deepest tracks ever. It was... Chad complimented it with the lyrics that he wrote about just not wanting to be like his father, wanting to be better than that, And the song had to have a really deep emotional sense to it. And I remember the day that we cut it, Greg comes in, we're all in, and we're all hungover. We'd partied hard the night before, and we were on a pretty good roll writing. And we all looked at each other and said, we really feel like doing this today, and they picked up the electric guitars, and I said, it's fucking too loud for me, man. I said, Greg, why don't you grab that acoustic guitar, And he goes, yeah, I got something I've been working on. We laid that song down musically in probably 15 minutes. Just if we hadn't have been in that frame of mind, it would have never came out. And to me, it's one of the best songs on the record, and it like I said, Chad really complimented it with the lyrical theme that he put to it.
So what maybe you can describe then what was his father like? Was he?
Well, I didn't know him personally, but from what I can gather from the song is just he wasn't around for him. He wasn't a good father, and Chad doesn't have any kids, but if he ever does, he doesn't want to be like him. And it's a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it. A lot of people have, fucked up childhoods and parents that weren't there for them and stuff like that.
Well, you had the opposite, I think.
I was very lucky. My dad was fantastic. You know, I was when my parents got divorced when I was 14. It was really kind of crushing, but you know, as I always look back on it, it was the best thing that ever happened. Just because there was no more fighting in the house. You know, they just couldn't get along with each other. You know, my dad was a musician; he'd be out late at night, and my mom worked in the day. And anyways, between the two of them, they barely made enough money to pay the bills and all this. And when they split up, you know, we actually had more time with our dad, more time with our mom. Me and my brother kind of grew up faster, being the men of the house now that he wasn't around. And I think it was just ended up being a better situation all the way around. You know, they both were able to really care, and we were able to care for them, and they were great parents.